Alright, good Friday morning to you. Welcome back to Shaving with Fuzzy. I'm Fuzzy. How y'all? Good to see you back. So, a little bit of fun today, I think. Something, razor I haven't actually used before. So this is going to be an adventure. Shouldn't be a big problem. Oh, because some people sometimes ask Cafe Bustelo. There's no chicory in it, but still, it's a really good stout cup of coffee. So today, fun part's coming up. We're going to use this old Palmolive. This is made by Colgate Palmolive here in the USA. I don't know when they stopped making it. I call it vintage. It's definitely older stuff in a plastic tube. And as you can see, it's a green colored soap. And it just has a soap smell. It's nothing fancy. But it doesn't smell rancid and everything, at least not the last time I used it, so hopefully it still does. We'll see in a minute. So that should be a lot of fun. And we're going to use the old Ever Ready PB650 that was reknotted with the Virginia Sheen badger brush. Finest badger they call it. I like it. Got to be one of my favorite little brushes. So there was some discussion over at Toast about scuttles. And I decided today was a good day for a scuttle. This is a Dirty Birds pottery scuttle. This is their 1.5 model. It's a little bit bigger. And what you do is it's got a bottom bowl and a top bowl. And this is all one together. It doesn't come apart. So you put hot water down in the bottom and it warms the bowl up so that your lather stays warm. That's this kind of scuttle. And there's also the vintage scuttles that I use every once in a while, like this one, that was actually made, you put water in and you put your brush in, and it's a way to soak your brush when there wasn't running water and stuff. It doesn't really heat the soap cake on top. Just doesn't. It's not what it's for. So anyway, so this is one of the few occasions where you sort of bowl lather, but you're getting the lather warm and then you actually lather it on your face. So it's not cheating too bad, just a little bit. But they're just really nice to have the warm lather, in my opinion. I like it more than a little bit. So on to the fun stuff today. One of these. And this is a Durham Duplex. They of course made the shavette looking thing that was an open comb style. And then they had the double edge style here that's, as you can see, open comb. What you'll also notice about it is that it's a whole lot wider than a standard double edge. This is a flare tip 1957 Super Speed, was my granddad's, and this is the Durham Duplex. You can see the difference. Now, the only blades that I've found they're selling these days that fit this thing is hold on just one second. Sorry about that. I don't edit videos and I don't want to restart. Is these industrial blades by Personna. Now they're not as smooth as a regular blade. I've already found that out by using the shavette style. But they do shave, and I think it's going to be great. But you can see the difference in blade size there. The width is they're a little bit wider, but they're most certainly a whole lot longer than the traditional double edge. So let's see what we get going here. Should be fun. It's a really heavy handle on this one, and I love that shape. It's just a really neat shape. So we're going to do it the way we do all of our three-piece razors. We'll start with the cap, put the blade on, put the base plate on, make sure everything lines up, and last but not least, we'll tighten the handle down. And then we'll pop on the old reading glasses here, because Fuzzy's in the over 40 club, as my eye doctor calls it. And since this is the first time I've used this razor, I just want to check and make sure everything looks like it's lining up. And all looks good to me. I think we're going to try to make that work right there. That's what we're going to do this morning. So Friday morning, off work for the weekend as usual. And for no particular reason, decided I wanted to shave this morning. So luckily we can do that. So what we're going to do with the Scuttle is we're going to take it. It's already nice and warm. You can feel it, and we're just going to put a little bit of cream in there. It doesn't take any more than it normally would to do a shave. This Palmolive, yep, got that soap smell to it, is a pretty nice cream, even as old as it is. It's been a little while since I used it, but I do. And the same thing, we're just going to get a damp brush. It's not going to be that wet. Get a damp brush and we'll start working up some lather in here. Sometimes you have to add a little bit more cream, but usually whatever amount you would normally use, it doesn't take a whole lot. Now what I try to be careful of is I don't want the water, see I'm kind of holding it with the spout there tipped back. I don't want the water to splash over and get into my lather and mix it up. So this nice and warm lather is just great. So we're going to let that set and get good and warm while we get our prep done here. But there's just something definitely to be said for warm lather, especially on colder mornings, but even other mornings. I probably should use my Scuttle more. It was a gift from a good friend, and I love them. Now she also makes, and I've mentioned this before in other videos a while back, she makes what she calls a brush Scuttle. And it's just big enough to put your brush in. It's the same thing. It's got the lower water tank and an upper vessel. And you put it in with the lather on your brush, and it keeps the brush warm between shaves. And that would actually work better, I think, as far as face lathering, which is what I, of course, prefer. Good, clean soap smell. I can't describe it better than that. And as you see, it still lathers up good. Now this is about a day and a half growth or so. I shaved it like, well, it's not quite a day and a half. But anyway, it's over a day's growth. I shaved, what, at 4 o'clock the other morning for work, 4:30. And it's, what, 11 or so on Friday now, I think. I could be off with that. It could be closer to 10. I don't know. I ain't kept up with it. So we'll get this brush back in here, and that'll keep the lather warm for the second pass. So on to the Durham. Boy, look how wide that thing's huge. It's just a huge, wide edge. Alright. And like I said before, I already know that it's not going to be a real smooth shave because this is an industrial blade. And it's just not as smooth as a regular blade. However, just because it's not as smooth doesn't mean they don't shave. And the neat part out of the whole thing is it's a razor that you don't see a lot of people using because of the blade issue. And I like being able to use stuff like that. So we'll use our best technique here with this big old wide head and see if we can get a shave out of it. Interesting finding the angle here. I don't know if it's because the blade's so wide or what, but it's just an angle like any other razor, really. Alright. You can see where I lost the angle over here. I don't know if I lost the angle or if it's just this industrial blade. But anyway, here we go with the first pass. I'm not going to rinse that. We'll go to the second pass. Our second pass, oh, the lather is nice and warm. I think we'll add a little bit of water to it, thin it down just a little bit. Because believe it or not, you could actually adjust your lather when you're face lathered. You don't have to make you a big old bowl of, you know, buttercream like you're icing a wedding cake or something like that. But people like that, great. People like a lot of things, I've noticed. But that doesn't mean you have to, doesn't mean I have to. Alright, let's see what we can do with across the grain. This is the second shave on this blade. The first shave was with one that was what it looked like a shavette. And that went really well with it. Now I'm getting a good shave. It's smooth, but I can tell you it's a rough shave. It's definitely not as comfortable as a newer blade. It's almost caught an ear of that big old wide blade right there. Matter of fact, I hope I didn't catch my ear. But anyway, we'll see. But it's, I've had some single edge blades like that. They give a really rough shave, but it gives an okay shave. You can see I was off on the angle right there because you see the tracks. If you're seeing cornrow tracks in your lather using an open comb razor, you missed the angle a little bit. I may have missed it a little bit there. All right, we went back and got it. Our touch-up pass ought to really clean things up. So other than being a little rough, it's a very nice shave. There's no issues with the head being as wide as it is. Here, get that ear right under that ear. It is a little cumbersome being wide, getting up in tight spaces, but if I was shaving my chin and over my lip, it may be a little bit harder. But since I don't really do that, I don't think it's going to be an issue. So let's take a look after a couple passes. Get a rinse off here before we do our touch-up pass. You'll notice, no matter what razor it is, I always use the same routine. No need to change routines, I don't think. Razor's a razor. Pretty much a blade's a blade once it's sharp enough to cut. Now this blade is an industrial blade. So it kind of falls into the category of not really being as sharp. So you just have to do what you can. But if you'll notice, it is a good shave. Got to do my touch-up pass, but it doesn't feel, even though that's not as good a blade, the shave doesn't feel any worse than it normally would. It's still a good shave, and we're going to get a damn fine shave out of it, I can tell right now. Of course, I don't go for BBS shaves. I gave up on that a long time ago. No matter how close you get it, within a few hours, it's going to be right back, so with me, so I don't do it. Alright, here we go to our touch-up pass. We'll dress up around the goatee a little bit. Ooh, that doesn't work as good as doesn't work as good with this blade with the little touch-up, but that's okay. Come under here, make sure we got it behind our ear here. Well, looks like we got away with no blood. Sorry about that, I was getting out of the camera. Excuse me. One of those sinus mornings, coughing and sneezing. But, so we're going to get away with no blood and a really nice shave. That's just as good a shave as I get out of any double edge. This goes to show that solid technique will take care of your somewhat iffy equipment sometimes. Now, I don't recommend you go buy paint scraper blades for a single edge and go to use them. I don't recommend it. Of course, most of those paint scraper blades, you can't use them to shave anyway. They won't cut the hair. But this blade is at least sharp enough that it actually cuts. It's just not smooth at all. All right, well, there we go with a 3-pass shave with a Durham Duplex using our Dirty Bird 1.5 Scuttle. We can pour the water out of now. There's a good bit of water there. It keeps it warm for a while. Now, I know some people, and I've been known to do it, they'll fill the bottom chamber up with hot water, and then they'll fill the top up with hot water while they're doing other things. I'll get back to you. And then they'll pour that water out, refill the bottom tank with hot water before they start shaving, so everything stays nice and warm. I guess if you were in a cold place and it started out really cold, that's not a bad way to do it. Not a bad way to do it anyway. But I find just by filling the bottom, letting it warm up while I let the brush soak and doing that kind of stuff. I've also known people to completely submerge the scuttle in the sink of hot water so that the whole thing heated up, and then they'll pour that water out and put fresh hot water in the bowl before they start to shave. None of that's wrong. All that's okay. But if you don't have a scuttle, they're kind of neat. They really are. Are they really necessary? Not really. But it is neat to have a warm lather shave. Now you could do this with a soap even. Load your brush up with a soap and then bowl lather, basically. Build your night until it warms up in the bowl. And to me that's just no fun at all. But if you wanted to do that, you definitely could. So we're going to finish up today with lilac vegetal, also known as the veg, also known as cat pee. That's one of the nicest things people call it. They don't like it. The veg has to choose you. You don't choose the veg. I'm chosen by the veg. Maybe I'm reincarnated Hungary cavalry. I don't know. My understanding is this was originally made for the Hungary cavalry. And maybe it was made so strong in this particular scent to cover up the horse smell, because horses do smell. But anyway, whatever it is, if you're chosen by the veg, it's good stuff. If you're not chosen by the veg, I've been told it's not so good stuff. So anyway, there we go. Hope y'all have a good Friday. Hope you enjoy the shave. The Durham Duplex here with Personna. These are actually carpet cutter blades, by the way. That's what they actually make them for. And they shave. It's a rough shave. This was the second shave on this one, but I can tell you, my cheeks are just as smooth as they ever are. Got that little bit of a feel down here, sandpaper. That's the word I'm looking for, sandpaper. A little bit of sandpaper feel down here that's normal, because I don't try to get it all off. It's a damn fine shave. That's what I shoot for. If you want to shoot for something better, fire away. Well, y'all have a good day. I'm going to finish up my coffee here and probably have at least one more cup before I get out of the house to run some errands. And, happy shaves to you.